prince sitting in her kitchen. Alfie cleared his throat. Your husband was Rodolfo Vargas, yes? The woman looked down at the table, her fingers tightly laced. Si, he was. Before, she said, her voice petering off into nothing. Before, Alfie had released Sombra's magic and killed hundreds of Castellano citizens. His throat burned at the memory. I'm very sorry for your loss, Alfie offered, his voice wooden to his own ears. Though he meant the words, they sounded terribly meaningless. Gracias, she said plainly, looking at him. But why do you ask about my husband? For the past few months, I have been working on a memorial to those who were lost. To complete it, I need something from you. Something of Rodolfo's. The woman was silent as Alfie described the memorial and why he needed items that belonged to the departed. The memorial would be revealed in a week, so her contribution would be one of the last touches to the project. After he spoke, she sat silently, wringing her hands. We don't have much, Your Majesty, she began uneasily. The things I have left of him, they are my treasures. Alfie clasped his hands in his lap. Senora, I defer to you completely. If you would rather not, I understand. I have many trinkets from my brother, and I would not be able to part with a single one. Which wasn't entirely truthful, as he had parted with one, a fox figurine that he'd given to Finn. It had looked so right in her palm as she tucked it into her pocket. Alfie shook his head free of those thoughts. What I ask of you is a sacrifice that you needn't make if you don't wish to. She looked at him then, and it was as if she was seeing him for the first time. Or maybe she was seeing him not as a prince or as her future king, but as a boy who had lost someone too. Wait here, por favor, she added awkwardly. She hurried into the back room of the home. There was no wall there, only a sheet hanging as a partition between rooms. Alfie watched Luca play with the children while he waited. Want to see something chévere? Luca asked, waggling his eyebrows. Something very, very cool? Luca, Alfie warned from his seat, but Luca only looked at the cheering children. Okay, Luca said. You asked for it. He picked up the two smallest and began to juggle them as easily as if he were juggling eggs. The children squealed with laughter as their oldest sister watched, wide-eyed. Luca, Alfie hissed. Basta! Ever since Sombra's magic had granted Luca inhuman strength, he had been juggling everything he could get his hands on. For the last 4 months, Alfie had lived with Luca constantly shouting, Hey, Sourpuss, look! Only for Alfie to turn and see his cousin juggling his furniture, priceless statues, boulders the size of horses, and now children. At the sight of Alfie's hard look, Luca rolled his eyes. Fine. Just as their mother parted the curtain and walked back in, Luca caught both siblings, tickling them until they fell to the ground in a fit of giggles. The mother sank into her chair, clutching something wrapped in a handkerchief. She stared at the bundle for a quiet moment before placing it on the table. Alfie looked at her for permission, then uncovered it. Inside was an old pocket watch. It was rusted, but Alfie could make out the initials RV engraved on the back. It was his favorite. She laughed dryly, and then tears were falling down her face. Even though it never worked. Alfie held the watch carefully. Are you sure? I will not be able to return it. The items would disappear when the spellwork was complete. There would be no turning back. She nodded, and the motion seemed to make the tears come faster. Estoy segura. I want him to be a part of this. Alfie watched her, his heart aching in his chest. I am so sorry, Senora Vargas. She passed another hand over her.